Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome if you are just joining in. Welcome to Janet's Pick. Nod your friends, your sister, your auntie. Tell her we're on. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Janet's Pick. I'm so excited to have you on with me today. Thank you all to all those who have joined. If you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Janet Ezocha, and I am founder of Janet's Pick, and I created these series of interviews to get into the minds of amazing women, like I say, doing amazing stuff. And today I have a very amazing woman. I told her that she's a testimony. She's my first huge testimony as concerning Janet's Pick this year. This is a miracle that I have her on. I want you all to welcome Jo Saxton. Jo, welcome.
Thank you. It is an honor to be with you. It really is. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, the honor, believe me, I just feel so grateful. Gratitude is what I feel for having you being able to make out the time to join me this evening. Jo is an author, speaker, leadership coach, and podcast host. And Jo, you operate from where? I know you're on the Central Time. You're an hour away.
I live in the Minneapolis area. I live in Minneapolis, yeah.
How cold is it right now?
You know, it's kind of warm for us, but when I say warm, it's maybe 30 because it's not minus 20 right now. So I am in praise. I'm in praise. I am grateful. I am celebrating because it's only 30 degrees. And yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's that bad. It gets that bad. That's how terrible it is.
Well, I'm an East Coast kind of girl, warm, little warmer than that, but welcome. And you're a wife and mom to two beautiful daughters, right? Two beautiful daughters.
Two teenage girls, 14 and 15. Yeah.
Wow, they're big girls.
Yes.
Big girls now.
They are. They're getting very tall as well, which is a problem.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on here. Jo is an author, like I mentioned. She's written 2 books, More Than Enchanting, Breaking Through Barriers to Influence Your World, and The Dream of You, Let Go of Broken Identities and Live the Life You Were Made for. And Jo, I did get a copy, I got that Dream of You. It is amazing. I tell you, it grabbed my heart from like page 1. I'm being very honest with you. You very authentic. I want to, I'll be asking you a few questions from this book, but for all my listeners, grab a copy. Those of you that are, planning your year out, absolutely. Jo, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I know I've just really gone at a very high level. Tell us about your background. How did you get to where you are right now?
Oh gosh, I mean, I guess there are a million stories, but I am Nigerian, but I was born and raised in London. You'll know, Janet, that there's a really large Nigerian community in London. So yeah, that's where I was. My parents moved to England in the 60s, but I've lived in the US for about 15 years. Initially, we were working with churches as campus pastors. I did some leadership development work, coming alongside church leaders and church teams. When I was in England, I actually was a youth pastor for a while and a college pastor for a while. And I think, our lives kind of unfold, don't they? They just kind of, there are lots of things you didn't plan to happen that just are what they are. So I think I discovered a lot of things on the way in terms of what I do now, in terms of leadership coaching, in terms of podcasting, came out of when I was working for churches or speaking at events. Women in particular asking, wanting to go deeper, wanting some answers to questions on what it looked like in their real lives. And my coaching work came out of that.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm hearing you speak, and I told you I was going to ask you about the elephant. Not the elephant in the room, but the elephant on the Zoom is your very heavy accent. And that's because you grew up in London, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And the thing is, where I grew up, everybody sounds like this. So it's very normal. It's very normal. It's very normal. I'm by no means unique, except when you move into another part of the world.
Absolutely. That's what I tell my friends. Look, if you move to some certain parts of the world, you are the one with the accent. So Well, welcome. Thank you for that. I want to start off with your book. Some things that I read in your book. You talk about God dreams, right? You talk about God dreams. Again, I want to show everyone the dream of you is what I'm referring to. What, first of all, what inspired you to write that book?
A lot of it came
The
out
dream
of,
of you.
yeah. Thank you for asking. A lot of it came out of meeting women as I traveled and as I spoke, and seeing women with so many gifts and talents and such courage, women with dynamic careers, dynamic professions, and yet sometimes a doubt about who they were, and realizing it and wanting to do things in service to God, or wanting to progress forward professionally, and there was an invisible thing holding them back. And whenever you dug deeper, that thing always came down to identity, some kind of conflict, some kind of who do I think I am, or what do I think I'm doing, that stemmed from identity. So I wrote it really because I wanted women to know God's delight in them, in the gifts that they bring, that they are that where they have tolerated their identity, God celebrates it. And I wanted people to know that. But I also wanted us to track, sometimes there are things that hold us back, where we stay in the old ways. Like I asked the question in the book, as you know, who were you before anybody said to you who you were supposed to be? And sometimes it's who we were told we were supposed to be that is shaping our life. We're still asking somebody else's question rather than the question that God invites us into.
Joe, I am listening to you, and I certainly had moments in my life where I felt stagnated and you just kind of lost. You talk about the need to refer back, like you're saying, to old dreams that we had before life got complicated.
Yeah.
Family, career, business. And you talk about, you say, and I think I'm quoting you, say they can be signposts to our aspirations and could hint at the kind of life we were made for. So what exactly are God dreams? And how do I know if the dream that I've had, the vision that I've had for years, is in line with God's will for my life?
I think our dreams are to be explored, because you're right. Some of our dreams are foolish. Do you know? Do you mean some of our dreams just need to go sit down? Like I had a dream, Janet. I'm going to confess it. I had a dream. One of my prayers was that God would speed up my metabolism for me, with it, so that I could continue to eat all the carbs that I wanted. Now that dream is rooted in foolishness. That's not a dream. That's not a set. I wasn't serious, let's be clear. But I think some of it is, there are these talents we have. I think, like, why are you good at this thing? Why do you have that ability with numbers? Why do you have that understanding of business? And I think when I'm inviting us to ask ourselves about God's dreams, it's like, have we got curious about this? Because these talents, these abilities you have, these ideas didn't necessarily, not all of them started with you. Some of them were found in the very heart of God. And the only way we'll know is if we begin to explore a little bit with them and ask and prayerfully invite God to give us his perspective on the life we're living.
That's something that I'm a little embarrassed to say. That's just not until recently that I've learned to seek him first as concerning my dreams, and not just going off to pursue them. But sometimes some people haven't had time to even make that consideration that you're talking about. Joe, I'm an immigrant, originated from Nigeria, even though I was born here. But a lot of folks, you come into this country, for instance, and it's just about go, go, go. What's the next best thing that's going to work for me and guarantee a stable, comfortable future for myself and my family moving forward? So a lot of folks, honestly, I want to ask you, a lot of people are focused more on survival, and they think the whole thing about discovering your true identity or your purpose is just overrated. They've worked really hard to get to where they are right now. They're comfortable, they are satisfied, and I use that word loosely, but they're satisfied and maybe not necessarily feeling fulfilled. But again, they're at a place where they're okay. Not necessarily, they don't necessarily love what they're doing, but again, it's paying the bills. Why is it important for us to discover our true identity and our purpose?
I mean, first of all, I do fully identify. I'm an immigrant like you, and then immigrated again. Do you know what I mean? I think the most consistent identity for me is immigrant, and there is an element to which you just have to get on. Also, as we talked about, we're Nigerians, which mean that you are a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, maybe an engineer. Those are the. I mean, your parents know the plans they have for you. Do you know what I mean? They know the plans, and it's just like, oh, I'm not good at medicine, which means I'm going into law. Do you know what I mean? or all these things. And,
That's right.
And so I think part of this is, I do think the idea of purpose has been westernized into some kind of cute Instagram dream, which is like deep within there's some idea and you need to throw everything off, and that's not practical. That's not practical for us. But what I'm saying is purpose is more than plan. Purpose is more than goals and Instagram pictures. Purpose is God's meaning, even in the life you're already living. And that may be found whether you're cleaning or whether you are studying and all these places. It's just how is God impacting it? Like you, I didn't think about this for years, which is why I wrote the book in my 40s and not in my 20s, because I was just, survival was the max. But what I have realized is survival is great. And I think it's something to be encouraged, but there is also a wholeness. I want to do more than survive. I also want to be whole. I also want to receive all that God has for me. I want my family, my children, my elders to receive all that God has for us. I want to be able to have a day off. Do you know what I mean? I want us to know I want us to experience all that God has and not be always proving, always fighting. And I'm not saying, and we should be, you've worked hard. You've got your degrees, you've got your other degrees and your other business on the side. There is a lot to celebrate. But I think when I was writing this book, and I think as I was thinking of my own journey as a Black woman, as a Nigerian woman, and on this journey together, it's okay, God, I have been running and running and running and running and running. What was always you? What was always you? And what are the things that have just stuck in my head that are actually causing a problem now? And is there anything else you have for me that you're inviting me to lean into? We've come this far, but what does it look like for you to show me whose I am and who I am? And those questions aren't Western questions. They're made in the image of God questions.
Oh my goodness. When you use that word whole and you drew the difference between survival and being whole, that really that touched me. And a lot of times we don't even get the chance or give ourselves a chance to ask ourselves these questions. Joe, a lot of women right now in my circle are in this place of wilderness. You talk about that as well, being in the wilderness, which means different things to different people, but somehow I know I definitely experienced it, the pursuit of life, for life, we kind of get lost. We lose ourselves, right? We're all about other people, again, building family, building a career, and constantly chasing, proving who we are or what we're worth. And then we forget, we kind of get lost. We lose our ways, we lose our identity. What are practical steps we can take in discovering our true identity? And maybe in that regard, our purpose.
I think it varies amongst us. I would ask us, what are the I think I would come back to that question of who were you before anyone told you who you were supposed to be? And I would ask you, are there things that people have said or done that have limited you? They may not have intended to limit you, but that you've kept yourself in that box because it felt safe. It felt like the only way ahead. I use those as signposts to just check in with God and say, God, is this a good word over me? Or is it a good word that I've outgrown? Is there more to my story than what I've been told about myself? So I would say that what are the ideas that you keep on saying, I've not got time for this. I've not got time for this. I've not got time for this. Where if you let your heart allow it, you'd also like to try something else too. Where I would ask us to think, where are you really tired? where are you really tired? And I know I laugh when I say it, because I didn't grow up with vacations. I don't know about you, but I didn't know what a vacation was. You know what I mean? That was not part of our family story. When people are like, where are you going away? I'm like, go away for what? For where? Who? How? Do you know? And anytime we did have a day off, you know that my mum said 3 words: read your book. That was it.
That's right. Yeah.
That was it. But I think there is something in rest, which rest isn't again, it's not a Western pursuit. It's God's gift to his people, his humanity. And it's a place of creativity and opportunity. You have worked, you have built pathways for your family, for your friends, for your elders, and for your youngers. Maybe just let the Lord bless you. And I think sometimes why we enter into wilderness, and I think it happens for different reasons. Often, for some, it happens when we don't have the life we expect, when we had big dreams and we keep on colliding with, like, we thought we'd be married by now. We thought we'd be able to have children. We thought we'd be able to have more children. And we hit a wilderness. Or we hit a wilderness when we do have the life we expected. We do have the life we worked for, and it didn't satisfy. Both those things can send you into wilderness. And the point of that, when I say a wilderness, a kind of sense of emptiness, where it's almost a stripping away of who you are and it's not quite working. And I do feel, I remember for me, one of the most poignant moments was in a time of loss when my father passed. This sense of loneliness. I was here in the States. I felt far from home. I felt far from everything that felt familiar. And there are immigrant days which are great, and there are immigrant days which are difficult, which are just difficult because you can't, from everything to not being able to find your food, let alone to be able to find your, or whatever, or people who understand. And those things can leave you in a wilderness too. But it was a moment where I was like, God, meet me here. Just meet me here. Meet the woman I am. Meet the grief that I've encountered. Meet the confusion that I walk with. Meet the tiredness, and meet me in survival, because some of my friends aren't having to survive. What do you have for me? What do you have for is there healing for my story? Is there healing for the broken parts of the past? Am I willing to name that some of the parts of the past were broken? I'll say to God, meet me here, meet me in the disillusionment that I've worked and I've done all the right things and I've worked really hard and I still didn't get that job. And I know it was because of my gender, or I know it was because of my ethnicity. And yet here I am. I did what was said on the label. I got the degree, I got the master's, I got the PhD, I did the work, and I still didn't get the thing. So what happened to being twice as good and opening a door for you? It didn't work. And so some of that wilderness journey, and to be honest, I felt it was a journey of years of coming before God saying, I don't know how to do this now. I've run out of all my best efforts. I've run out of all my best resources. I'm going to need you to come and transform me, because I can't be anybody else. And then I realized before God, I was never supposed to be. I was meant to be who he created me to be.
I like the way you talk about God meeting us where we are, because sometimes we're constantly, and trying, and sometimes you're just out of it. Like you said, people dealing with discouragement and grief and can barely pick themselves up, like they're done. Thank you for that reminder that God can meet us where we are. And speak to us and lift us back up. Is it ever too late? Is it ever too late to?
I don't think so, because I think that when I look at the Bible, one, we see God calling people into purpose throughout their life. Moses is 80 when he does that work of delivering. Now, he's had career, he's done all these kind of things, he's raised a family. Deborah is a mature woman when she's called into her moments. Sometimes these purpose things are just an assignment for a few years, but also the work of God restoring our identity. No, because the Bible talks of he will restore the years. One version of it is he will compensate, he will repay the years that the locusts have eaten. And I do think for those of us who are immigrants, who have done a long journey, there are scars. There have been scars for us. There have been scars for our all the scars that our parents bore, and almost the things that they suffered to make a way. Sometimes we receive the benefit or we receive the impact of them. And I think what I find that is powerful about the grace of God is that he is a redeemer. He buys back what has been lost through our helplessness, through poverty, through no fault of our own, through violence. He redeems all of those things. And I think sometimes we just keep going because it's like, I'm grown. There ain't no point in me facing this now. But actually, I would encourage you, you could be a grandmother, a great grandmother, a single woman or whatever life stage, to invite God to meet you here and say, just checking, is there any redemption I'm missing out on? Is there anything I'm missing out on? Because we want all of it. We want all of it.
I want all of it. Everything. I've had times when I'd wake up in the middle of the night in a panic, feeling like life is passing me by, Jill. You know, there's some people, every birthday is a reminder of the time that's lost. Feeling like it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for that. Thank you for that. This is the time a lot of people are setting goals, goal setting, big on, January. Is there any pointers that you have as far as goal setting? What are some things to think about? We know about SMART goals or smarter goals. Anything in particular for a woman is still in pursuit of her purpose? Not quite sure.
Yeah, and I think it's harder this year because there's so many things that are moving parts right now in terms of, can we leave our houses? Can we travel here? Can we even leave the country? You know what I mean? It's hard. So I think, but I would say consider having goals for your development, not just for your delivery. So what I mean by that is, so often our goals our SMART goals are around delivery. This is what I'm going to achieve. This is what I'm going to become. We may not be able to do all of that because we don't know how much freedom of movement we're physically going to have. We may not be able to try something new, start that business in the way that we hope we might, but there may be some limitations. So I would invite us to consider what are your goals for your own well-being, for your development, which will actually benefit ultimately the things you want to deliver in your life as well. If the last year has taken its toll on you in quite a profound way, if it's taken something from you, if it's cost you financially, what are your goals for developing in that area? If it's cost you something mentally, in terms of your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, what is your goal for healing? It may feel a little more introspective than we're always comfortable with, but let's consider this a retreat to advance. Do you know what I mean? You pull in, you gather, you heal up, you get your momentum. So when you come out swinging. But if we are getting up more tired than we went to bed, if we are debilitated by the frustration of feeling like we're going in circles, I really want to encourage us to set goals for your development, for your emotional well-being, for your mental well-being, for your relational well-being, and make decisions. And they make decisions that will actually free you. We do have some agency in that. What are your spiritual goals for your spiritual development? Set goals that will actually liberate you, so that as this world opens up and our buildings and all these things and work and our professions open up, we can come out swinging.
And that's what we want to do. Come out swinging, ready. That's the best thing I've heard this night. Goals towards our development and not necessarily delivery. We've been in a delivery-driven world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And last year taught us a lot. Everything just.
Yes, it did. And I think, again, when you and I think of our own stories as immigrant women and our journeys and our families' journeys, we came to deliver.
Yeah,
we came to deliver. We had to deliver, and because you are building your life, you're sending money home or resources home, you're helping people get educated, delivery, because we didn't come for feelings. Do you know what I mean? We didn't come
for that, Joe.
For what? Do you know what I mean? We came to deliver, and so it's quite jarring when delivery isn't possible, because here's the other thing. I don't know. Like, I remember when I was growing up, my aunties, on a Sunday night while they were braiding my hair, and heaven forbid if it was the auntie who was angry that day, because then you know how tight those cornrows are going to be. But I remember, like, my aunties are cooking and people are doing your hair and they're talking, but they're talking to each other. They're explaining their way through the world about the employers, their children, everybody's raising the kids together, all of this stuff. And they were forging their way forward. And now in this era, we have found ourselves in spaces where we can't even connect in the ways that we wanted to. But the whole point of us building our lives was to help the next generation, help the generations alongside us, help the elder generation. So now in this moment, as we look towards this year, how can you continue to gather your people, even virtually, so you can be saying, okay, this is what's going to work. This is how we get through. Because the one thing our family did neglect, because there wasn't time, honestly, I don't even know if neglect is a fair word. The one thing we didn't have capacity for was to work on the cost of the journey. The tiredness of the journey. If this moment can be a moment where you can attend a little bit to the tiredness and the journey, it's not a waste of your time. It will refuel you for the fire ahead. And I think that's really important. We get to have that. We get to receive as well as to give and deliver.
We need to give ourselves the permission.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Without feeling like you're being lazy, because heaven forbid, you can be anything, but be lazy. Oh my gosh.
Not allowed. You're not allowed. It starts feeling like you're failing already. You start feeling that self-inflicted mostly.
Yeah.
Wow. Joe, there's a whole lot more I'd love to ask you. I know my time is up. I'm just praying that I get some more time with you later on.
Yeah,
I'd be so honored. How can my listeners reach you if they wish to hear more?
Yeah. Again, thank you for asking. On all the social media platforms, it's at Joe Saxton. So on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those places. If you go to joesaxton.com, that'll tell you where my podcast is, the books, and I have a leadership coaching platform, a digital platform, which is available. If you're a leader and you're trying to work out how do you strengthen yourself, this is another good space for you. And it has a 30-day free trial at the beginning. So yeah, go to joesaxton.com and you can find out everything there.
joesaxton.com, that's easy to remember. Thank you, Joe. You'll be hearing from me again for sure. Thank you so much for blessing our lives this evening. If you're just joining me, I've been talking with Joe Saxton. Really a pleasure having her on today. To my listeners that have been following me all this while, I'm really grateful. Very, very grateful for all your support. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Leave me a comment. Let me know how this interview may have touched you, and give me a thumbs up as well if we're doing a good job. Joe, may God bless you. I wish you a very powerful year ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Likewise, Janet. Likewise.
Thank you. God bless you. All right, everybody. See you soon. I have more exciting interviews this year. Please just stay tuned. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye. Take care, everybody.